my lovely students, how are you all? A very hearty welcome to this mind-blowing platform, Physics Wallah Gulf. My name is Nupur Sharma and today we are going to do the ultimate recap of In the Kingdom of Fools and the Happy Prince. Now let us start. Okay, so we are going to do In the Kingdom of Fools and the Happy Prince. See, first of all, we are going to start with In the Kingdom of Fools. So, we would like to start with, the name of the chapter. The name of the chapter is In the Kingdom of Fools. It means that we are talking about a kingdom where, the people are fool. Why are they called fool? Why is that kingdom called the Kingdom of Fools? That we are gonna know in this particular chapter. Let's find it out. Now, we'll start with the introduction. In the Kingdom of Fools is a famous Kannada folktale. So you have to remember this thing that it was a Kannada folktale and it was adapted from A.K. Ramanujan's folktales from India. So you know what's folktales? Folktales means are the tales that are related to various regions from India that are very popular, and these kind of folktales, they are passed on from generation to generation. In the Kingdom of Fools is an interesting story of a kingdom run by a foolish king. It's a really very interesting chapter. It's a really very humorous chapter. And this chapter has been written in many languages. It has also been written in Hindi. Okay, so let us now start reading this chapter. So it starts with the strange Kingdom of Fools. Obviously, if it is a Kingdom of Fools, it is going to be a strange kingdom. In the Kingdom of Fools, the king and his minister were idiots. Yes, okay, because we were talking about it, they are fools, they are idiots, the king and its ministers. They changed the day into night and the night into day, okay? They changed the day into night and the night into day. It means that each and every practice that is done in the day, it means like tilling the farm or, carrying out any nightly businesses, and even the cattle. Cattle were also taught that they should sleep during the day and they should give milk at night. And each and every animal and each and every, man, they used to sleep during the day and they used to do everything during the night. The nightly business used to start in the night only. I mean, all the businesses used to start in night only. Anybody who violated the rule would be punished. So people slept during the day. Okay, people slept during the day and worked at the night. Okay, they used to work at night. They just had, we can say that they had formed such kind of a habit that they were used to this thing. They were used to, behave like nocturnal animals, nocturnal birds. Like an owl behaves, the owl sleeps during the day and it wakes up at night. And the similar thing these people also used to do because, they were always under the constant threat of death. Now, arrival of Guru and his disciple. One day, a Guru and his disciple came. They were surprised to see the strange scene. They came to know they can buy anything for a single dudu. Now, the thing is that one day a Guru and his disciple came and they were surprised to see such a strange, scene. What they saw was that when they, went to the village, they noticed that there was nobody on the streets. Not even a mouse stirred. Okay, not even a single mouse stirred. Okay. So they, started thinking that where are all the people? It's such a beautiful village. Okay, the village was really very beautiful. And when they started wondering that what was happening and they were feeling hungry, so they, went everywhere. They searched the whole village, but there was no one to be seen. And now when the evening came and, it started getting dark, they started noticing that the people had, come out of their houses and they were, doing their business, and the cattle, they had also woken up, and the farmers were going to their fields, and these things were happening, and the Guru and the disciple were very scared. And now, the Guru and disciple, because they were wandering in the streets from, the whole day, so they started feeling very hungry. Now, when they started feeling very hungry, they went to buy some groceries. Okay, they went to buy some groceries, and what they realized? They realized that everything, they could buy anything for a single dudu. Okay, it means that wheat, okay, rice, ghee, anything, sweets, They could buy anything for a single dudu. It means that the price of each and everything was fixed, and that was a single dudu. The Guru realized that it will be good to leave this place while the disciple remained there. Now, obviously, first of all, firstly, the Guru was really very happy. The Guru was happy to find, that we have, everything for a single dudu. So the things are really very cheap here. So he decided that I should stay here, we should eat our fill. So, what they did was that they bought a lot of things. They bought wheat, they bought sugar and, ghee, and they prepared a meal for themselves, and they, ate it, and they were really very happy. But the Guru soon realized that, this place is not suitable for us. Why? Because this is a kingdom of fools. He soon realized. Now, the Guru was a very intelligent person. He told his disciple that, this place is not suitable for us. We should, leave this place, because this can be really very dangerous. We should never be in the company of foolish people. But the disciple was really very greedy. He thought that, I'm going to get cheap food here. So he decided that I am not going to leave this place. And he decided that he is going to stay back. But the Guru immediately left from the city. Decision of Guru to leave the city. Initially, the Guru and disciple were happy as they could buy all the food in a rupee. As I told you now, that initially they were very happy. But soon the Guru realized that it would be good to leave this place while the disciple remained there. The disciple remained there. The disciple said, no, sir, I'm going to remain here. No, Guruji, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to eat. I'm going to have a lot of sweets and ghee and wheat and sugar. Every day, the disciple ate cheap food and became fat, So what happened was that the disciple started eating. He started eating because, he loved food. He had a huge love for food, and he became really very fat. He became so fat that he was compared to a street side sacred bull. Like we see in India, the bulls are also worshipped, and usually they are decorated just like the idols, and these streets side bulls who are who are worshipped, they're really very fat. So he was compared to a street side sacred bull. Why? Because he was having a lot of food. He was enjoying a lot of food. Now what happened? Incident of theft in a merchant's house. Now meanwhile, the disciple was enjoying his life. One incident took place in the village. One night, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house by making a hole in the wall. The wall of the old house fell on his head and he died on the spot. So one day what happened was that there was a thief. There was a thief. He broke into a rich merchant's house because he had went there in order to steal something. So he went there by making a hole in the wall. The wall of the old house fell on his head and he died on the spot. Okay, he died on the spot. The thief's brother approached the king and complained to him that the house owner, merchant, should be punished for not building a strong wall. Now, it's really very funny that he had went there to do an illegal thing, but his brother, he went to the king, that foolish king, he told him that my brother was doing our ancient practice, our ancient practice, and our ancient practice is to steal the things. When he went there, the wall fell on him and my brother died on the spot. So my family deserves compensation. He started asking for compensation from the king. He said that, this merchant should be punished and we should get a lot of compensation because, he was the earning hand of our family. The owner of the house, bricklayer, and the dancing girl were summoned. The king, obviously the foolish king, he was really very excited that, I have got a very good case. The king summoned the merchant to his court. Now the king decided that I should call the rich merchant to my house. Okay, he did not realize that the thief had went to, steal something. He did not see that. He just thought that, I have got a chance to prove myself as a good king. So he just summoned the merchant. When the merchant arrived, he blamed the bricklayer for building a weak wall. Okay, now the merchant came crying, and the merchant told the king that, sir, it's not my mistake. Okay, Raja Sahab, it's not my mistake. It was my father who got the wall built. And he got the wall built from, a bricklayer. And the bricklayer, he had, not made this wall. He had not done his job perfectly. That is why this wall was not strong enough and it fell on the poor thief's head. And, it's not my mistake. It's the bricklayer's fault. Okay, it's the bricklayer's fault. Now the bricklayer, an old man, was called to the king's court and pleaded with the king to punish the dancing girl for distracting his attention from work as she went to and fro that street all day wearing jingling anklets. Now the bricklayer came. Now he was an old man, and he told that, I accept that I have not built a good wall, but it's not my mistake. Okay, it's not my mistake. Actually, I was distracted that day. That day, a dancing girl was going to and fro the road. She was going chan 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 chan. She was wearing these jingling anklets. Okay, jingling anklets, and by hearing her chan 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 chan, neither my eyes could control myself. I was keeping an eye on her, and I could not keep my mind to build a wall. So seriously, it's not my mistake, it's a dancing girl's fault who actually distracted me. So it was really a funny turn of events, and everybody was blaming everybody. So goldsmith and rich merchants were summoned. The dancing girl, who had become old now, blamed the goldsmith. Okay, now the dancing girl came to the court. She was summoned to the court, and now she had become very old, and she came like this to the court, and she told, it's not my mistake. I remember that I was going to and fro that day down the street, up and down the street, but it's really not my fault. It's a goldsmith's fault. Okay, why? Because I had given gold to that goldsmith to make some jewelry for me, but old rascal, that lazy rascal, had not prepared my jewelry. So and he forced me to come to his house a dozen times, and I was just going here and there, and that is why it's really not my mistake. It's the goldsmith's fault, who actually made me come to his house so many times a day. Soon the goldsmith was brought into the king's court, who said that he was busy attending to a rich merchant's order at that time due to some wedding rituals in his family. And now the goldsmith was called. You know what the goldsmith said? The goldsmith said that, I'm really very sorry. I know that I made the dancing girl, come up and down to my house. But the reason was that at that time, I was preparing a rich merchant's order, because they had some wedding rituals going on at their place. And that the rich people are very impatient. He also said this thing, that the rich people are really very impatient. And, so I had to, finish their order first. And that is why I, made this dancing girl wait. It was therefore ruled out that this merchant was the same house owner whose wall had collapsed on the burglar. So we can say that there was a vicious circle of karma. What happened? That when the goldsmith told that, the king asked that, who is that, rich merchant? Okay, it's the rich merchant's fault. What is the name of the rich merchant? The king was surprised to hear that rich merchant was the same person. He was the same person, same house owner whose wall had collapsed on the burglar. So he said that, the moment I set my eyes on you, I knew that you were the culprit. But here, the rich merchant told that, no, it's not my fault. It's really not my fault. It's the fault of my father. My father had given those orders. And you know what the king told? The king told that, you have got your father's property in the inheritance. When you get your father's property, when you get each and everything, you get your father's jewelry and all the property. So why not your father's sins? You are also going to get your father's sins, and you are going to be punished. I know that you are the culprit. So here it was decided that the rich merchant was the only culprit. Now finally the rich merchant was ordered to death by the king. But you know what happened? The stake did not fit, therefore the king ordered to find a fat man for the execution. The soldiers captured the disciples. So here what happened was that, a stake was made. A stake was made for the, this rich merchant's execution. But they realized that the rich merchant, he was not, his neck, he was not fitting to that stake. So it was decided that any person who fits the stake should be executed. So they started finding a fat man for the execution. The soldiers captured the disciple. surprising state of events. The disciple remembered his guru and prayed to save him. They went to the disciple and the disciple started crying. The disciple said that what is my mistake? I'm innocent. I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything wrong. So here the disciple was told that these are the king's orders. Okay, these are king's orders. He has asked me to find a fat man, and you're the only fat man who's fit to the stick. And here the disciple, he realized his mistake. He realized that my guru was right. I should never be in the company of the foolish people. We never know what's going to happen. And now the whole thing has fallen on me. And then he started remembering his guru. He started remembering his guru, that Guru, please come and save me. I'm in a pickle. Come and save me. Guru. Now, the guru also came. The guru had magical powers. This guru had magical powers, and this guru had a kind of a telepathy. He had a kind of a telepathy with his disciple, and when he heard that his disciple is in trouble, this guru, he could see the present, he could see the future, he could see the past of everyone. So what he did, he just teleported. He just teleported himself to the disciple. He just came to help the disciple. And what the guru did now? The guru befooled both the king and his minister by saying that whosoever would die first, he would become the king in next birth. Okay, and the person following him will become the minister of the state. Okay, so now the guru came. Now the guru was really, really intelligent. So what he did, that he said something, he just whispered something into the disciple's ears, and he told the disciple that, you start shouting that I am going to, die first. Then I'll say I'm going to die first. And, they started, fighting with each other. The guru said that, who is bigger? He started asking the king, who's bigger, the guru or the disciple? Obviously, he said the guru is the bigger one. So he said that, yes, I should die first. And, when they started fighting, the king was intrigued that why, he got very interested that why are they dying to die, why are they willing to die? So there he disclosed that, we have never seen such a kingdom. We have never seen such a king. So you know what, in this, auspicious hour, whoever will die will become the king in the next birth, and the person following him will become the minister. Now the king, he was really very, he became very anxious. He thought that, oh my God, I cannot lose my, kingdom. So both the king and minister agreed to die. After their death, people begged the guru and his disciple to be their king and minister. So now what happened was that the king was really very interested that, this kingdom, I should not lose my kingdom. So he decided with the minister, and he told the minister that, what we should do, that what we would do is that we would delay this, execution for one day. And at night, they decided that they are going to send the guru and the disciple away, and they are going to disguise themselves as the guru and the disciple, and then they are going to die because they wanted to become the king and the minister respectively in the next birth. And that is what they did. They sent away the guru and the disciple, and they decided that, yes, we'll be the, new king and minister in our next birth. And that is what happened, not that is what happened. Actually, they died, and the next day when the people saw that who had died, because when the dead bodies of the people were shown, because, there was a custom that the dead bodies were to be thrown in front of the eagles and vultures so that, they can do scavenging on them. And that is what happened, and the people realized that actually this is the king and the minister, and they started mourning their death. So here, the people thought that we need a king and a minister. So they begged the guru and his disciple to be their king and minister. When the people of the kingdom saw that the king along with his ministers were executed, they made the guru and his disciple their king and minister respectively. Although the guru was hesitant initially, he finally gave in and reversed the rules of the kingdom, and the people began leading a normal life like other kingdoms. So this is what happened, when the guru and the disciple were asked that you are going to be our king and minister. Obviously, the disciple really got very excited, and he thought that yes, I'll become your minister. But the guru was hesitant, but after much convincing, he decided that, okay, I am going to become your guru, I am going to become your king. But the first thing that we are going to to do is that we are going to return back everything to normal. Now day will be day and the night will be night, and everything will be in a perfect order, and not everything will be there for a single doo-doo. And that's really very wrong. So he just reversed all the things back, and everything was just normal like the other kingdoms. So this is how people got their new king and minister. So it's really very lovely story that we really love. And now is the time for the second chapter, that is the Happy Prince. So as the name suggests, the Happy Prince. This story by Oscar Wilde is about the statue of a prince that was studded with gems and gold leaves, and a swallow who helped needy people. So this is written by Oscar Wilde, and it is about a statue of a prince who was studded with gems and gold leaves and a swallow. Okay, there was also a swallow bird. Okay, this is a swallow bird. This bird helped the prince's statue, and how, that we're going to know in this particular chapter. So the statue of Happy Prince. A beautiful statue was installed on a tall column high above the city. It was the statue of Happy Prince. The statue was covered with thin layers of gold. It had 2 bright sapphires fixed in the eyes. A bright ruby stone was placed in the hilt of his sword. So there was a beautiful statue, and this beautiful statue was of Happy Prince. Actually, the name of the prince was Happy, and the statue was covered with thin gold leaves. Okay, so he was covered in gold, and he had 2 sapphires in his eyes, and on his sword there was a ruby. Okay, there was a ruby stone fixed on his hilt, on his handle. Okay, so he was a really very decorated kind of a, this was a really decorated kind of a statue. Now, the swallow arrives. One night, a little swallow who was going to Egypt arrived in the city. He was tired, so he decided to spend the night at the feet of the statue. So one night, a little swallow came. Okay, a little swallow who was actually migrating to Egypt, because there the cold was there was the winters were coming, and the winters were coming, so it was really getting cold for the birds. So the birds migrate to a hotter place, and they were going to Egypt, but the bird was tired, so he decided that he is gonna retire in the night on the feet of the statue. So he decided that he is gonna rest at the feet of the statue. He was going to sleep, but he got disturbed by a large drop of water that fell on his head. The swallow was amazed as the sky was clear. When the second drop fell, he decided to fly away. But when the third drop fell, he looked at the statue. He found that the statue was crying. And now, when he was resting, while the swallow bird was resting, he realized that, I'm getting drenched by water. And then he thought that, it's not raining. Why am I getting drenched? Where are the water droplets coming from? Then one came, second came, and the third one came. And then he saw that actually these were not water droplets. These were actually the tears of Happy Prince, and they were falling from the Happy Prince's eyes, and he was getting drenched. And he realized that why the prince is crying. She straight went to the prince and she asked him that, why are you crying? Please tell me the reason. Now, the happy life of Prince. The swallow asked the statue the reason behind his tears. The statue of Happy Prince told the swallow that when he was alive, he did not know about miseries and sorrows. He lived in a happy life, so his courtiers called him the Happy Prince. So here she got to know the story of Happy Prince. She told, the statue of Happy Prince told that the swallow, that when he was alive, he did not know about miseries and sorrows. You know why? Because he was a prince. Okay, he was living his princely life. He had, servants, he had gold plates, and he had a plenty of food to eat, and he had a lot of money. So he did not know what are miseries, what are sorrows. So he lived a very happy life. He was always very happy, and his courtiers, they started calling him Happy Prince. However, now after his death, his statue was set up very high, and he could see the misery, poverty, and the sadness that people face. So earlier he was not familiar of miseries and sorrows. He thought that everybody is happy, But now when his statue was made and he was put on a high pedestal, he started watching everyone, and he started noticing that, only the people who are in the castle, they are happy, the people who have the money. Only the privileged ones are happy, and these underprivileged people, these poor people, they have a lot of misery, poverty, and sadness that people face. So he was really saddened by that, and that is why he was crying. The prince wants to help the poor people. The prince told the swallow that he wanted to help the poor people, but he couldn't move. So he requested the swallow to stay with him and help him do so. The swallow agreed to help the prince. Now the prince told the swallow bird that, you know what, I want to help the poor people. You know, I have so many things, I want to give them to the poor people, but you know, I cannot move. Obviously I cannot move, you know, because I'm fixed. I am a statue, I'm fixed to this place, I cannot go anywhere. But you are a bird, you know, you can help me. And the swallow was also very good soul. The swallow decided that, yes, happy prince, I'm really gonna help you. Just tell me that what I have to do. The prince told the swallow that a poor seamstress lived in the city. She was embroidering flowers on the gown for a queen's loveliest maid of honor. So here the prince told the swallow that there was a poor seamstress. Seamstress means that a tailor, okay, there was a tailor, a lady tailor. There was a lady tailor, and she is, you know, she is embroidering flowers on the queen's loveliest maid of honor. By her side, her little boy was lying ill and asking for oranges. But the poor woman did not have money. So the prince requested the swallow to pick out the ruby from his sword and give it to the seamstress. Now the seamstress was really in distress. Why? Because her poor child was lying, you know, in the cot. She was embroidering the flowers. She had to work. She had to finish her work in order to feed her child, in order to earn some money. But a poor child, he wanted to eat some oranges. Why? Because he was not feeling well. He had, you know, a lot of fever and he was craving for oranges. But she did not have the money for the same. So here, the statue, the happy prince told the swallow bird that, you know, what you do is that, you know, you pluck the ruby from my sword and you give it to the poor seamstress because she needs it. The swallow agreed and put the ruby beside the poor seamstress. He also fanned the sick boy's forehead with his wings and left, you know. So the swallow bird, being a very good bird, he helped the happy prince. She gave the ruby to the seamstress and she also fanned the poor boy who was actually, you know, sweating in the fever. So by fanning him with his wings. So this is what happened, and this is the way the swallow helped the seamstress. Now, the swallow wanted to go to Egypt, but the prince requested him to stay for another night. Now, it was time for the swallow to leave, but you know, the happy prince told him that, you know, just, you know, stay here for one more night, okay? He convinced him that you should stay here for one another night. The prince requested that swallow to help the playwright. The young playwright was trying to finish his play for the director of the theatre, but he couldn't do so. It was very cold to write anything and he was hungry, which made him faint. So here, you know, the happy prince told him that, you know, there is a young playwright. Okay, the young playwright. Playwright means a playwrighter. The one person, the one who writes the plays. Okay, so here he was trying to finish the play for the director of the theatre, but he could not do so. Why? Because it was really very cold. It was cold to write. It was very cold. He could not move his hands. He was not able to write anything. So here the prince asked the swallow to pluck a sapphire and give it to the playwright, who became happy after receiving it. So here the prince told, you know, I have a sapphire in one of my eyes. You just pluck that sapphire, you give it to the playwright so that he becomes happy. And that is what the swallow did. The swallow, you know, directly went with that sapphire and he gave the sapphire. He actually placed the sapphire on the table, and the, you know, a playwright assumed that maybe the director had, you know, sent me this, you know, sapphire to help me financially, and you know, he was really very happy after receiving it. So this way he helped this poor playwright. Next day, the swallow came to the prince to say goodbye, but the prince again requested him to stay. The prince told the swallow that a little matchstick girl was standing and crying in the square. Her matchstick had fallen in the drain and were all spoiled. Her father would beat her if she failed to take some money. So here, next day what happened? Next day, when the poor swallow, she was about to leave, the you know, happy prince, you know, made her stay for another night. The prince told the swallow that there was a little girl, a little matchstick girl, a little match girl was standing. She's crying in the square because her matchsticks had supposedly fallen into a drain. And why? Because she could not sell any matches. Her father is going to beat her up. So he was really feeling very sorry for that little match girl, and he wanted to help the little match girl. The happy prince commanded the swallow to take another sapphire from his eye and give it to the poor girl. The swallow was not ready to do so because that would make the prince completely blind, but the prince forced him. Now obviously, you know, why those two sapphires were actually his eyes. One of the sapphire he has already given, and he was asking the swallow to take another sapphire and give it to the little match girl. The swallow realized that you're going to become blind. What are you? Are you out of your mind? You will become blind. How are you going to see? How are you going to, help the people if you become blind? The swallow put the sapphire into the little girl's hand. When the little girl got the sapphire, she felt very happy. The prince became blind now, so the swallow decided to stay with the prince. Now, because, the prince forced the swallow, she had to actually help him. She had to give the sapphire to the little match girl. The little match girl really became very happy, but the happy prince, he became blind. So the swallow was really touched by it. She got really very emotional. She wanted to help the prince, and she told him that, please, I am going to stay with you forever. Now, because you have become blind, I want to help you even more. And that is what she decided. She decided to stay with the, statue, statue. The prince asked the swallow to fly over a city and tell him what he saw there. The swallow informed the prince that the poor were leading a miserable life. The prince requested the swallow to take the gold leaf by leaf from his statue and give it to the poor. The swallow did the same as per the request and made people happy. So now the prince had become completely blind, but now he relied on the swallow. He told the swallow that, swallow, you go all over the city and you see that how the city is doing. And here the swallow reported to the happy prince that, the ones who are living in the castle, they are leading a very happy life. They are very happy. But the ones who are living the life on the streets, ones who are, not rich, the poor people, they are leading a miserable life. They are really very sad. And this made the happy prince's heart, wrenched, and he told, the little swallow that, you do one thing, that you pluck leaf by leaf from my body, these gold leaves, because he was, decked up in gold. So he just asked her that, you take leaf by leaf and you go and help the poor people. And that is what the swallow did. Swallow started plucking up the gold leaves from the statue's body, and she started distributing it among the poor people, and the poor people were becoming fortunate. The poor people were becoming really very happy receiving after it. Now the weather had become extremely cold. The swallow could not tolerate the cold weather, but the swallow didn't leave the prince. He tried to keep himself warm but was not able to do so. He soon realized that he was going to die. He requested the prince to kiss on his hand, but the prince told the swallow to kiss on his lips. Now the weather had become really very harsh for the swallow, because swallow was a little bird. She had to actually migrate to a hotter place. Now she was in winter. She was not able to survive that winter. She was feeling very cold. She could not, actually wrap himself, and he could not keep him warm, and he became really very sad, and he actually knew that he is going to die. And he told the prince that, I'm gonna die and I want to kiss your hand. But the prince told him that, you do not kiss my hand, you kiss my lips. Okay, and that is what he did. After kissing the prince's lip, the swallow fell down and died. When the swallow died, the statue's leaden heart broke into two pieces. Okay, so here is what happened. This swallow, when as soon as he kissed the little prince, this happy prince's lips, he, fell down. And he fell down, he died on the spot. And the prince, his leaden heart, okay, everything was of gold and the precious metals, but his heart was of lead. And the leaden heart, it broke into two pieces after the swallow died, because swallow was actually happy prince's best friend. We can say that he was his best friend, he was his companion. The mayor of the city, along with the town councillors, visited the place. They found the statue to be ugly and useless, as it was no longer beautiful. Hence, it was removed and sent to be melted, but the broken lead heart couldn't be melted, so it was thrown away. So here, one day what happened, one day the prince was, taking a round of the city. prince and his counselors, and they saw that what is this, ugly statue doing here? The statue, he is neither decked up in gold, and it's really very ugly, so it's useless. Okay, it's not, increasing the beauty of this place. So you just, melt this statue down, and we'll, replace it with a new statue. And that is what they did. They started melting the statue, but the lead heart that had broken into two pieces, that could not be melted, and so the leaden heart, it was, thrown away. God sent one of his angels to bring him the two most precious things from the city. The angel brought the leaden heart of the happy prince along with the dead swallow. So one day what happened was that the God was deciding that which are the most two precious things. Okay, he was discussing with his angels that which are the two most precious things from the city. Okay, you go and find it there. And when the angel came back, he brought the leaden heart of the happy prince along with the dead swallow, because yes, they were really very precious. The God praised the angel. He also stated that the swallow would sing forever in his garden of paradise, and the happy prince would praise him forever in his city of gold. So here the God decided that yes, these are the real two angels. We can say that these are really the precious things. And the dead swallow, the dead swallow was actually revived, and he started living in heaven, in actually the garden of paradise. He was forever singing, and his singing was praised by the happy prince who was living forever in the city of gold. So it means that they got place in God's heaven. Okay, and they really deserved it. So they were really doing these good efforts, and because of their good efforts, they were able to achieve this position. They became very close to the God, and the God really became very happy. Now, I hope that you understand both these chapters. Both these chapters are really very interesting. The first one is really very humorous, and the second one is really very emotional, very heart-touching. So I hope that you understand it. If you have any doubts, you can just write it down in the comments below. Thank you so much, children. I'll see you in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye bye.